Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something totally unexpected. We're actually going to use a classic literary awakening to break down the profound mid-career crises and severe burnout that so many of today's workplace elites are facing. It turns out ancient literature holds a shockingly accurate mirror up to our modern professional lives. Let's get right into it. Picture the ancient hero Lu Zixin from the classic Chinese novel Water Margin. So he's known for this incredibly rough, chaotic, even violent life, right? But he reaches the very end of his journey sitting completely quietly by the Qiantang River. He hears the tide coming in, burns some incense, and leaves us with this absolutely startling quote, "Tide comes on Qiantang River. Today I finally know I am me." And then he just peacefully passes away. He chooses to let his fictional persona completely vanish so his true soul can finally be free. Now, I want you to contrast that ultimate moment of absolute clarity with our relentless day-to-day modern grind. It's a pretty stark difference, isn't it? And honestly, it begs a really tough question that we all need to confront. Is your hard-earned workplace success actually just a beautiful cage? I mean, think about the impressive titles, the stock assets, the workplace prestige you fought so incredibly hard for over the last 10 or 20 years. Are they actually liberating you, or are they just trapping you in this endless cycle of quarterly reviews and performance metrics? Today, we're going to take Lu Zixin's ancient imagery and drag it right into your modern office to see what's really going on beneath the surface of all that success. Section 1. Midlife Workplace Dilemma and the Illusion of Cheap Salvation. Society constantly bombards modern professionals with this really dangerous myth. We can call it cheap salvation. It's this illusionary idea that you can somehow find inner peace through, a little online chicken soup, maybe a weekend wellness retreat, or just some localized feeling of relief, without actually sacrificing a single thing. But the source text warns us to be highly suspicious of this. Any salvation that promises a cure without pain is just an illusion. Because true salvation, it requires a brutal cost. The source defines real salvation not as gaining something new, like picking up a fresh hobby to somehow distract you from your miserable job, but as a highly painful process of detaching and paying a heavy price. It demands a real, agonizing separation from the very things we've been conditioned to chase our entire lives. Section 2. Golden Ropes and Jade Locks. Now, in the modern corporate world, golden ropes are incredibly easy to spot. Your social reputation, those impressive job titles on your LinkedIn, the hefty balances in your bank accounts, these are your golden ropes. They drag you along, forcing you into the spotlight and basically turning elite professionals into performing marionettes who are just terrified of dropping the ball and losing their status. And then you have the jade locks. These are the heavy, beautiful cages we build entirely around ourselves. We're talking about the mortgages, the luxury cars, and those complex, nested social or family networks you belong to. Don't get me wrong, they're precious, they're warm, and they absolutely offer comfort. But they're also cold and they're heavy. They lock your life's radius into this tiny, predictable square. Sure, you're secure, but you literally cannot move. We have to acknowledge a really hard truth here. The real agony of mid-career misery directly stems from a greedy paradox. It comes from this intense desire to keep the absolute safety and comfort of those golden ropes and jade locks while simultaneously yearning for the total freedom of the soul. We want the prestige and we want the peace. We want to fly, but we absolutely refuse to put down the weights. And you know what? That tension is exactly what ultimately burns us out. Section 3. The Divergent Paths. Detach or immerse. The source outlines two incredibly hard paths here, side by side. There is no easy middle ground, no compromise. On one side, you have active detachment. On the other, extreme immersion. Both of these paths demand massive sacrifices. You are either deliberately dropping those shiny ropes entirely so you can walk away, or you are willingly accepting the mud and sinking your feet right in. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine navigating a highly toxic VP role. That toxicity, that's your trap. The golden rope keeping you there is the prestige of unvested stock options and that shiny executive title. Your awakening happens in how you respond to this specific trap. Active detachment means walking away from the money and the title entirely to save your sanity. Boom, gone. Extreme immersion, on the other hand, means accepting the toxicity as just the cost of doing business, dropping the emotional baggage, and optimizing purely for the payout to support your family. The true awakening isn't in which one you choose, but in making a deliberate choice, rather than just passively suffering somewhere in the middle. But let's be real, snapping those ropes comes with a brutal reality. The cost of active detachment is steep. It involves a very real collapsing of your social circles. Those people who only knew you as the VP or the elite executive. They will vanish. It might mean a drastically lowered living standard. You lose your elite networking status. But the profound trade-off is that you finally find your true self, completely unburdened by a script someone else wrote for you. Now, what if you can't, or simply won't, detach? The source explains the alternative path of extreme immersion. This is where you stop struggling to escape the corporate game entirely. You stop the existential whining. Instead, you root yourself deeply in the secular grind, and you view it as a form of cultivation. You accept the mud, you focus purely on providing, and you find your peace by no longer fighting the reality of your situation. The pain actually stops when the struggle to escape stops. Section 4, The Awakening Experiment, Knowing My True Self. So how do we actually do this? The source breaks down the practical steps of what we can call the awakening experiment. This is designed to help you separate your true essence from your corporate avatar. Step 1, acknowledge your roles. You are a great manager, a provider, a spouse. Step 2, recognize they are not you. They are incredibly important roles you play in this grand game, absolutely, but they are not your core soul. And step 3, stop waiting passively for things to just magically get better on their own. I really want to deliver this deeply empowering reminder straight from the text. You are not passive crops waiting to be harvested by the next corporate restructuring or economic downturn. No way. Whether you choose to deep dive into the secular world and cultivate the mud, or snap the illusions and walk away entirely, you have the power to write your own script. You are the author. So I'll leave you with this. Are you ready to snap the illusions and face your true life script? I challenge you to take a hard, honest look at your own professional cages today, your golden ropes, your jade locks. Decide right now if you are going to keep performing the illusion, if you're going to sink into the mud on purpose, or if, just like Lusitian by the river, you are finally ready to awaken and say, today, I finally know I am me.